Hey, welcome to the Daily Dave. It's Dave. Music's a little different today, Dave. What's going on? Well, I'm playing with a website that I love. It's called Storyblocks.com, and I would love to share with you as you talk about music in your podcast. The music sets the mood, everyone. As a musician, I've been playing music for 45 years? Okay, now I'm old. Okay, I just felt really old there. Oh. And I can tell you, as a musician, I'm pretty picky about the music I put behind and what I use in my podcasts. If I don't like it, I don't play it. So I've gone with Storyblocks. I'm really enjoying everything that they have out there for music. Great variety of tracks, and I wanted to share a few ideas for you around navigating Storyblocks, what I look for in good music. Again, it's very relative. My musical taste may not be yours, so mileage will vary, and, insert your own music here. But I'm going to share some clips of some songs and stuff that I like, and the variety of what you can pick from Storyblocks for you here on the How to Podcast series, a Daily Dave with a new track backing us up just so we can explore this great website. Storyblocks.com is a website. Go there and check it out. I really am enjoying it because, again, for me in podcasting, music is really a big part of it, and I think you should think about maybe adding a little bit of music to set the tone for your podcast here on the How to Podcast series with Storyblocks. Are you ready? Here we go. So we've all been to that really lame party where the music just is not right. It's you walk in and you just feel like, oh, I'm in the wrong place. And yeah, it could have been your junior high prom, high school prom, when they put that song on and everybody leaves the dance floor. Yeah, if with the wrong music in your podcast, everyone's leaving the dance floor. We're out of here. But you put the right music on and the dance floor fills up. And how do I know this? Because I've never been to a dance. How's that? I am the introvert guy, remember? I'm the guy that doesn't like crowds. Yeah, and I grew up in a house where my family would give me notes. All right, are you ready for this? I would get notes I'd take to gym class because I wasn't allowed to square dance. Right? Well, A, I didn't want to square dance, but B, I wasn't allowed to, and I had to sit up on the stage and watch all my fellow students shake their cowboy boots and do the evil square dance, which I was not allowed to participate in. I don't know. It was a time in history, and I'm over it. So square dance away, everyone. Shake it. Do whatever you need to do. But music sets the tone, right? A blues song will set one vibe compared to hip-hop. Hip-hop creates a different vibe than, I don't know, country. Well, now we have country rap and rap country, and everything's blending together. It's a big collage of music, and I love it. I love everything about music. There's a couple things I won't listen to, but for the most part, I'm a huge music fan. And when I go to create my podcast, I want to have something that sets a tone for you. You'll notice I playfully use music in my podcast. And you really want to make sure you're using music that you own, that you've paid for. As a musician, I would not want you to use music that you did not own. You can't just go and grab Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber, AC/DC, Van Halen, fill in the blanks, Blake Shelton. You can't go grab this music and just throw it in your podcast. Oh, but Dave, I'm only using a couple seconds, so I'm fine. As a musician, please don't do that. Please, I'm speaking on behalf of my fellow musicians. No, You don't own it. It's not yours. Don't use it. The best way to use music in your podcast is to use a site like Storyblocks, which I'm highlighting today. There are others, but I really like Storyblocks because of the variety of music. But not just music. You can get images. You can get video clips. So you want that little B-roll of a doctor walking down the hallway with a clipboard in his hand? Yeah, we got that over at Storyblocks.com. So you can do all kinds of stuff for video editing, audio editing. You have sound effects, little swipes and things and dings and bangs and whooshes and all that fun stuff we like to throw in randomly into our podcast. They have it all. And what I really like about Storyblocks, what brought me to them as my choice for my podcast, was the terms of service. Well, that's boring. Well, the music's great. Awesome. Obviously, I like that for the music. But the terms of service is what kept me, right? So I like how they've worded their terms of service, which you can go to their website, storyblocks.com, and go down to the very bottom of the page and you'll see they have their terms of service. Why is that important? Well, when I compare Storyblocks to some of the other options out there, Storyblocks is very clear about where their license covers and where it doesn't. What I like is that it covers everything that you use from the time you start paying to the time you stop is all covered. If there's a YouTube copyright flag on something you post, they take care of it. That's good. You want somebody in your corner that goes, YouTube, stop being silly. Dave paid for this song. Leave him alone. And that's what I like about Storyblocks. Stick up for the podcaster. I love it. And it's really great that they have these great tools out there for you. And I guess the other part of it too is if you do decide, which you probably should not, but if you do decide to stop your subscription to Storyblocks, then everything that you've done to that point is covered by your license. It's great. You're covered. The license covers everything you do from the time you start paying till the time you stop. Now, you have the track. You've downloaded the track onto your computer through Storyblocks. That's how it works. You can download an MP3 or a WAV file, and it's yours. It's on your computer. But my word of caution to you, do not use that track after you cancel your subscription. You cannot use that going forward afterwards. Please don't do that. That breaks the terms of service. Okay? Don't do it. If you're going to use Storyblocks, pay for it monthly. Ask your audience to help you. Use your Buy Me a Coffee link. Let the people know in your podcast listening audience, hey guys, there's the things I want to add to my show. And it's going to cost me this much money. And if you can help me through a Buy Me a Coffee, I would take that money and then put it towards upgrading my music and going with a Storyblocks license. Your audience, when they know that you need something, will step up. They'll help you. And they will support you. So let them know. Again, let's go back to what we talked about many times. Your audience does not know what you need because you don't ask them. You never put it out there. So let them know. I want great music. I want a Storyblocks license. I want to be legit. I don't want to steal music from great musicians and try to get away with it. That's not a good plan at all, ever. Never do that. Pay the fees. Use a great website like Storyblocks to give you the music that you want for your show. And have some variety. Are you ready? Okay, well here, I'm just going to zoom in and zoom out with some variety of tracks that I've been listening to and using in my show to give you an idea of some of the music that you can hear on Storyblocks and what you can download yourself. So you ready? So here we go. Here's a little bit of this. So this is a track I use on my podcast editing and support show, podcasteditingandsupport.com. And I just love this because this song has got some really great breaks in it. Comes back in again. And it's really nice. You can cut this up into little pieces and use it for intros, outros, little breaks in the content when you're talking. I love it. It's got really good feel to it. It's simple. Big tip for everyone as you consider music for your podcast. make sure you have music that doesn't have vocals in it, because the last thing you want to do is compete with your voice over the voice of a singer. So I always go to the left-hand side of Storyblocks, and there's an option for you to turn off and just have non-vocal tracks. Great opportunity to do that. I love it. It's really, really handy. And it gives me great music like this, which I use on the podcast editing and support show over at podcasteditingandsupport.com. And see how it kind of fades out? Nice. And then right here, it's going to end off. 1, 2, 3, 4, and ends. So when you look at it on Storyblocks, one thing I do is I look at, you can see the wave file. So those are those squiggly mountains and peaks and valleys. There's no words, obviously, because there's just music. So you can see them, and you can actually see where the song actually breaks into chunks compared to like one solid waveform all the way across one consistent wave. When you see these peaks and valleys and breaks, those could become edit points for you to cut up the song and make your own version that suits you. So that's a great opportunity to come up with something great. So that was Storyblocks. That was one track. So here's another one as an example. Okay, so if this doesn't make you smile, I don't know what does. And the one thing I would even say that's really cool about using tracks, musical tracks like this, is then talking over the track, like I'm actually recording myself, the music's playing behind me. And I'm looking at the track, I can see when it's going to go up and down and breaks. But I slow my voice down to match the actual tempo of the song. See what I'm doing here? So I'm not talking really fast, I'm not really going quick, I'm going super slow. I'm matching my voice to the tempo of the song. It's the music guy in me, I guess. But it does give you this kind of nice little gallop to your voice as you match the music. So if you have a problem pacing yourself, which just means you're all over the place, try a track behind you. Keep it low. I could turn this way up and you wouldn't hear my voice at all. But just having something like this kind of just sets the tone. I feel like I'm in a great little restaurant. This is really kind of like that gypsy jazz guitar thing. And hey, it makes you happy. And now I can see that the track is ending right about here. There you go. So what you can do is just take that last little few notes you heard and use it as the ending of a thought. So you could be like, well, and that's the way my podcast went out into the world with all of its mistakes, but I did it and I'm proud of it. So I just grabbed the end, those few notes at the end of the song, cut it, moved it to the end, and now I have this little break that I can use as well. So there's so many things you can do with these tracks that can make your podcast very unique, different, and stand out from all the other talking head podcasts out there simply by leveraging the music that you find on Storyblocks. So here's another track. Again, I'll keep giving you little samples, let you see what it feels like, and the variety of music they have is amazing. So here's another one. So this feels like a health and fitness track. Welcome to the Dave podcast for all things health and fitness, getting you healthy and wealthy and wise. It's a podcast that talks about health and nutrition. Right? Are you healthy? Are you on a journey of becoming healthier? Well, this is the podcast for you. This is a podcast that helps you in all of your journeys as you get healthier. Right here on the Health and Podcast by Dave. That's right. So, right, there you go. Little things like that can be great for an intro. And then you can take the outro and do an outro, something like this. So thank you for being here for the podcast. What a great episode today. Thank you. Go over to the website, abcblablabla.com, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you for being here. Take care. So for that, I just took the same track, I cut it in half, took the end of the song, moved it to the far right of my track. I have the intro on my left, the intro music, and then I have my outro music going out. And I'm using fades So the music's coming in really quiet as I'm talking, building, and then fading out again. There's all these little tools all built into Audacity. This is what I'm using to edit this right now. And so I'm recording into it. I have the music tracks playing behind me, and I'm able to assemble all of this in real time. This has taken probably about 15 minutes to get to this point, just in editing. And it's pretty straightforward. You're like, well, Dave, that sounds easy for you. If it does sound easy for me, then we'll have no problem teaching you, right? So then go over to howtopodcast.ca and I'll get on Audacity with you. It's a free program. Audacity's free, everyone. So the money you save on not having to buy a computer program to do all this, you could put into Storyblocks and get great music instead. I think that's a great idea. Why spend a lot of money on a program to edit your podcast and then not have money to pay for the rights to your songs? That's a bad plan. So put the money where it's going to serve you best. Your audience does not care what platform you edit your podcast in. Nope, only the super nerds do, and they're probably not listening to your show. So instead, your audience will definitely know where the music is and if they like it or not. So go with a good choice. Spend your money wisely. We don't have a lot of money in podcasting. And when something like Storyblocks comes around, you get to have the best music possible for your show. So do it. Check it out. Storyblocks.com. Links in the show notes. And I'll give you a couple more examples of some other songs here on the How to Podcast series. Are you ready? Here's another one. Okay, so now I feel a rant coming on for some reason. Yeah. So this is the music I use behind my Dave's rants. You'll hear them once in a while. When I just have something I need to get off my chest and stop bugging my wife about. So that's a little triumphant king type thing, horn, whatever. It's great. Those are little segments. That's it. That was the entire song. That's just that little clip. And those give you some variety. They give you a chance to do something as a segment within your podcast. Not just the intro and the outro, but you can also then have something like that, which is really quite unique, to break up your content and give your audience a break. Give their ears a break. So use those. The other thing you can do is you can do the swipes and all the other stuff, which add value to your podcast because they break up your content when you have like 4 things to do, blah, blah, blah. After each one, you do a little swipe sound like these, which will help your audience to know you've moved on to the next topic. So all these little zooms and things, they kind of help you to go from one thing to the next thing. And I can see these coming up on my screen. So I stop talking when they come in. But they're really nice to break up what you're talking about so that your listeners can then hear that you move from one thing to another. And it really helps as you go through your content. And it really kind of breaks things down for your listeners. And these are all little kind of cool little effects that really kind of, hey, that was like a swipe. Yeah, there it is. These things really do help to make a statement. You can use these to break up your segments, intro your podcast, and can kind of just bring some variety to what you do here on the podcast. So, yeah. As you can tell, I have a lot of fun with editing and a lot of fun with sound effects. That was spooky. And it really kind of helps kind of make things go a little bit more interesting. Now, don't go crazy like I'm doing right now with all these, because after a while, your audience will get annoyed with all of these amazing sound effects. So just keep that in mind, and your audience will, I would default on less is more when using sound effects. And I just wanted you to see some of the great effects that are available here on Storyblocks to help you in your podcast to make things really interesting. Yeah, just like that. And so, like I said, we can also, beyond the music tracks, you can have vocals or no vocals. You can have sound effects. You can have bumpers and stingers, which are like shortened versions sometimes of the songs, which will just give you a little clip of the song, not the complete song. You can even get in there and do editing with the tracks as well. I haven't done a lot of that myself on Storyblocks, but that is an option. And you'll see that there's the original, sometimes there'll be the original version of the song that was posted, and then people have done other edits to the song, and you have those options as well to download. The plan that I'm using currently, I believe it's 5 downloads I get a month, and I'm paying a certain fee for that. The fees are going to change because podcasts live forever, and these numbers will be different in the future, so I'm not really going to share the numbers right now. You can always go to storyblocks.com and check out the current pricing. So I'd encourage you to do that. But I'm on the plan where I'm getting 5 downloads a month. So what I do is I try to plan out what I'm going to use those downloads for. And I put a reminder in my calendar. Oh, yes, Dave, don't forget, go get all your downloads. So I have a folder on Storyblocks where every time I hear something I like, I just move it in the folder. And then I wait for the next month and I download those tracks and then remove them from my folder so that I have like this ongoing list of songs and things that have caught my attention, and every month I just go there and grab whatever's there and put them into a folder, and I've paid for them. They're my tracks to use as I see fit in my podcast. So again, I would really encourage you to go and check out Storyblocks because that's the one I'm using. But whatever tracks, whatever places you're getting your music, I'd love to hear from you and hear your thoughts about why you love where you get your music from. But I would, again, my biggest point for all of this is to make sure that you're using the tracks that you pay for, that you don't go and just assume that it's okay to use someone else's stuff, videos, images, audio, music. Don't just assume that it's okay to take it and I'll deal with it later if somebody catches me. That is not a good way to do life. So my encouragement for you is to go check out storyblocks.com. Check out the amazing music, the amazing resources and tools they have. They're really super kind people as well. So reach out to their tech team, their support team. They'll help you if you have any questions. And they're there for you. And I love that they're supporting podcasters because we need more companies like Storyblocks that goes, these podcasters, they're really good people and we want to support them. Yeah, we need more companies like that in podcasting that understand what we're doing, why we need the music, and how we're going to use it to make our show better. So Storyblocks, thank you for everything you've given me as a member of your website and a member of your community. It's great to have your tools, and I'm looking forward to more podcast-focused audio tracks. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge there, Storyblocks. I would love to get more things more specific for podcasters. And I have a few ideas for you. If you're ever interested, reach out. I'd love to help you kind of develop that because there's some things that we could really use. I know there's things that I haven't seen yet that I'm hoping come in the future. So I'm always willing to give some ideas to you, Storyblocks. Again, everything is in the show notes, everyone, to go and grab a link there to get to Storyblocks. And I would love to get your feedback. Tell me what you think about music and podcasting. What are you doing in your show? Over at howtopodcast.ca, click the little speak pipe icon and leave me a voice message. Would love to include you in the next episode coming down the road of the How to Podcast series. This is the Daily Dave. This is Dave. Thanks for listening. And get out there and do something unique with your podcast. Add some music, add some life, and your audience will thank you for it because you're going to do something a little bit different and you will stand out in a sea of talking heads and blah, blah, blah podcasting. So they press play on your podcast and you hit them with something that's different and unique, they're going to stick around. So do something great. Try storyblocks.com. Link in the show notes. Thanks for being here. Catch you on the next episode of the How to Podcast series and the Daily Dave. Talk soon.